Good evening. It's time once again for another edition of the HideNet Sunday Night Weekend Review. My name is Don Ohsman, Editor-in-Chief of HideNet Publications. And tonight we're having some technical difficulties, so no grand opening like we usually have. In Latin America this week, David Holes, who writes our Latin American report from Novo Hamburgo in Brazil, says kills are still low. There's upward price pressure on fresh hides because of that. The kills are low, but the tanners who buy these fresh hides are having a tough time selling TR1 at $1.20 on typical averages, CFR. And they've even had to take some orders several cents less in order to generate some business, and volume leaves something to be desired. This week, in the last few days, the stock market shot up. You can read your local international newspaper for that. But the real appreciated 7% in just several days against the dollar, throwing everything into confusion. Argentina had prices up a little bit incrementally higher, but that was also due to currency. And there's a good story in this report on Brazilian shoe manufacturers getting an extension on China bringing in footwear into Brazil, which is a boon for these struggling shoe manufacturers in Brazil for their domestic business. In Europe, Andrea Guolo in Bologna, Italy, writes that UK 36s are steady, but EU cows are a little bit easier, some downward pressure. Calfskin are stable. There's pressure on some European bulls. This time of year, they have a very tough time with mud and manure in Europe. And tanners are very fussy and how much the weight, what's mud and manure, blah, blah, blah. So that makes things a little more difficult in that market. We have a new feature now on Iranian goat and mutton prices. If anybody's interested in that, we've got them in HideNet. We've also been able to expand our charts and graphs in our European report, which is a very nice feature to have. Australian prices, by the way, were firm. Higher, not firm, higher, a little bit higher. There's also a detailed report that Andrea writes this way on the various aspects of leather business, what the hides go for, on footwear, leather goods, furniture, automotive, and garments in the European theater. Also very interesting reading. This week in leather, which we don't cover very often, but the feature this week is an exclusive interview with John Hopper, who is a director of a leather business for VF in Asia. The best known brand they have is Timberland. Very interesting about how much leather is used in their footwear, and also indicative of any kind of leather shoe and the use vis-a-vis and the potential. And there's also a story in This Week in Leather on U.S. imports, which are up 6%, retail footwear sales reports, stories on major footwear brands, and the use of leather in footwear is another special report. North America this week, steers were very strong, increasing $1 to $3 a piece. Wet Blue Texas jumped $4. They were too cheap compared to what Salter prices in the market finally adjust. So now a typical average seasonal weight Wet Blue Texas steer sold this past week for about $85 C and F, and several dollars more were paid for heavier averages. The cow sector, as in Europe, is on hold, trying to hold with difficulty. Dairy cows were a little bit sloppy, so were branded cows, even native cows, which are not in great abundance, sold lower. In this week's U.S. report, we have a nice interview with Stephen Softman, who is president of the United States Hide, Skin, and Leather Association, talking about the accuracy of export numbers that the government puts out. We also have a story on ocean shipping weight containers. There's a new thing now that containers must be given accurate weights before they reach the pier so the container companies know what to put on the vessel. That's a big headache for any exporter. Packer margins are negative again this past week and the week before, which is curtailing kills, and slaughter is very low because the packers can't make any money. And as one packer said to me this week, I'm having a heck of a time selling our meat and our offal products internationally because of the dollar strength. So if you're in Asia and you buy a Brazilian offal or Brazilian meat or Australian meat, it's much cheaper than American, which is losing its competitive because of the dollar competitiveness. Wet Blue shipments and the export figures released this week were up to 10%, and both sales and shipments surpassed slaughter. It's been a long time since that happened. That's all we've got in this edition. Thank you for watching. I look forward to seeing you a week from today. Thanks for watching.